How are you doing? Welcome to Regular Beer Reviews, where the term regular doesn't refer to the beers reviewed, but to the reviewer, myself. This is the first review I've ever posted. Today I am going to be doing a beer from the Red Brick Brewing Company out of Atlanta, Georgia, Hoplanta. This is actually only the second beer I've ever had from Red Brick. Earlier in the year, at the beginning of the summer, I did have their blonde, which, as I remember, was pretty good. This is an IPA. It got an 84 on Beer Advocate with 244 reviews. It got a 65 overall on Rate Beer with a 36 for the style, and it doesn't have a review on the Bros yet. It's 6.7% ABV. I'm not really sure what the IBUs are, but the hops are Bravo and Cascade, and the malts are Caramel Crystal, Two-Row Pale, and Vienna. So, I did look up a few other reviews, and I have seen where they say there are some little particulates and things floating in it, so I was a little wary at first when I saw stuff floating around in the bottle, but hopefully it should be pretty good. I've actually had another IPA or two where they had little floaties in there, and at first I thought it was bad, but as it turned out it was alright. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get this poured. Nice color to it. I'd say the color is it's pretty average for an IPA. There are a lot of debris in there. A lot of little bits of yeast and malt floating around. Nice quarter finger head, I'd say. I didn't give it a real violent pour, but I guess just going ahead and see how this smells. A little bit of hops for an IPA. I would expect it to be a little bit more hoppier, but I looked on this bottle and I didn't see a freshness date anywhere on there, so you know, it might be a few months past the date, and the hops have just kind of the intensity of the hops has just kind of subsided a little bit, but it doesn't smell bad. I mean, it has a nice kind of caramely, kind of a sweet caramel honey backbone to the nose. As far as the malts go, it's the slightest bit bready, little, kind of smell the yeast a little bit, and I'm just picking up a little bit of a kind of piney, citrusy hop at the front, and actually a little more like a West Coast IPA as opposed to an East Coast IPA. East Coast IPAs tend to be more floral, as opposed to the kind of citrusy, piney hop of West Coast IPAs. Doesn't have a bad smell, but let's go ahead and get in this. Yeah, I'm thinking that's not as fresh as it's supposed to be. For an IPA, a pale ale, I would totally take this for a pale ale. It doesn't have that hop intensity that I want from an IPA. This tastes like it maybe has 40 IBUs, maybe not even that high, 35 maybe. I'm thinking it's not as fresh as it's supposed to be. So, but if it is, it tastes more like an IPA or more like a pale ale than an IPA. But overall, it's not a bad beer. I'd say it's pretty sessionable. I could, you know, put away a few of these pretty easily. So. Definitely, since the IBUs aren't super high, I can definitely taste the hops, and I can kind of break them down more. It's definitely more of a piney, citrusy type hop. It's way more intense in I mean, it's still only, like I said, maybe 35, 40 IBUs, but it's more intense in the flavor than it is in the smell. And that kind of caramely, sweet, bready, malty backbone that I can really pick up on the nose. I'm not really getting a huge amount of that in the taste. I'm getting that hoppiness, but I'm able to enjoy it more. I mean, there's certain beers that I've had that are just so hoppy, you can't enjoy anything else, even the hop flavors themselves, because the bitterness just overpowers the whole beer. But this isn't, excuse me, this isn't a, it's not terrible, but I do like to get, I do like the hoppy intensity to be a little stronger than this. Excuse me. For an IPA, when I see it says IPA, I expect it to be a little more bitter. But overall, the flavor's good. I'd say it's, again, pretty sessionable. I would give this a, for the style, I'd give it 7 out of 10. Not a terrible beer, but for the style, I mean, it's not the greatest IPA I've ever had by any means. But if you see it, I would definitely recommend picking it up. If you like hops, but only to an extent, if you're kind of weary about trying IPAs and stuff like that because you don't like the hoppy bitterness, I'd say this is a good IPA for you because it's not overly intense. As it's kind of warming up a little bit, I'm starting to pick up a little more of the malts and the flavor. I'm picking them up a lot in the nose. Getting a little bit of the hoppiness, but I'm mainly smelling those sweet bready malts in the nose, and then in the flavor, I'm just getting that citrusy pininess. But again, I don't think it's as fresh as it's supposed to be because the IBUs just aren't there for what I'd expected. But maybe that's what they were going for at Red Brick. So if they were, then I guess they did an excellent job. But again, I'd give this a 7 out of 10. Pick it up if you see it. It's only available in the Southeast. Bottles are on tap in certain places. I've never seen it on tap. I heard there's a place, I'm in Jacksonville, I heard there's a place out at the beaches where you can get Red Brick on tap. So recommend it if you see it. Prost.